Guys, didn't mean to keep you. You know, church people, they like to give you something. I'll be brief. I don't know whether you have any questions or you want me to take a particular line. Okay. This is my home church of Wahundura. I came from the service of Kibaki yesterday, and I spent the night in Gashibi. We have a property not very far from here, and I've come to my home church. This is where my parents grew up. It's called Wahundura. I came for a very quiet solemnization prayer with what I would say is my family, an extended family. I want to say two things. One, yesterday we buried a great man, a great statesman, a hero of this nation. He found us in a particular state as a nation, and he left us better off than he found us when he left leadership 10 years ago. Today, the economy and the country that Uhuru Kenyatta inherited is worse off today than he found it. We must be very clear here that that is the scorecard of this regime. Yesterday, we were not recognized at that ceremony. Some of us would have wanted to say a lot of things because of the greatness of a man called Kibaki. There are many people that served him and many people that contributed to the greatness that you saw in Kibaki, including some of us here. We are not saying we need to be recognized for the sake of recognition. It is just so that people know that in order to get to targets and beyond targets, you need a team. You go with others, you go with the nation. And Kibaki was that team leader. This regime is not a team leader, and we have seen it over and over again. That is one. The second thing I want to add is that the term limit of the president is stipulated in the constitution of this country. Kibaki left peacefully and quietly and stayed out of politics. Azimio is a clear attempt at Uhuru Kenyatta extending his rule. He's the chairman of a political outfit called Azimio. He is extending his rule kinyume cha sheria ya Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta, as is evident with everything you're doing, you want to stay. And we want to tell you, your time is up. Go home. Asante sana. I have come to start a conversation in the mountain. And it's a conversation that is about the consciousness of Kenya. The mountain region has been the bedrock of liberation struggles in this country. The bedrock of independence, the bedrock of the second liberation. And this time, they have decided to play second fiddle, and I'm telling them they cannot, because we have a bigger liberation, and that is the liberation of the majority of Kenyans from the yoke of a terrible dictatorship that was started by the colonial era. A system of governance that has disproportionately disenfranchised 99% of Kenyans. This is the greatest liberation ever since the struggle for Uhuru in this nation. And we cannot take a back seat. Nobody is going to give us anything. It is not anybody's to give. We are people in the mountain region that have always taken. This is our time to take again. We are the ones that put in this regime. We are the ones to remove it, not anybody else. We are the ones to change the game. We are the ones who gave Kenyans this problem, and we are the ones to solve it. The problems they have faced over the last 10 years, we gave them. And it's we here in the mountain that must rectify that big mistake, not anybody else. Asanteni sana. You know, the saddest thing about this Labor Day is there is a number that is not told. A number of 5.4 million Kenyans out of work. That is the number that is Kenya, and how sad it is. Because that 5.4 million are an economic and social crisis that we are going to face now and over the next few years to come. And that 5.4 million Kenyans means Kenyans who have gone to school, whose parents have struggled to educate, that this week alone were told they are failures. Do you know you had an 82% failure rate in schools for KCSE? This is the disaster of this government, the disaster of this system. I want to tell not those who are just working hard, but those who have worked hard in school and those who are jobless. This is your liberation. This is your time to come out and stand clearly August 9th and make it about yourselves, not about the few who have, the leaders that have. It's your liberation. This is the time to take the reins of the country into your own hands, because I know majority of those who do not have jobs are the younger population. This is your time to stand up and be counted. Let me even start with that question. The media and let me say wale ambao wanajaribu kutupanga have been trying to create a narrative that this is a two-horse race. And this is something that has been planned for a long time. It has been there. And we know how these things are pangued, because after all, we've been there. We've been in the back rooms panguing these things. I want to tell you that the coalitions you are seeing are coalitions based on nothing else but tribal coalitions. Coalitions that come together, pulling Wagogo from different communities and saying this is going to bring numbers to the table and win an election. I am standing very different. My race is really about not bringing tribal people to the table, but bringing the collective thinking of where majority of Kenyans are at this time. That I represent a system called Itweka that is breaking the shackles of being pangued from the time of colonial Kenya, being pangued by black colonialism. This is a time to say enough is enough. We are the ones who can take the reins. And I'm bringing like-minded Kenyans to the table. And in my race, I am very clear that I'm the insurgent candidate. I'm the one that's going to spoil it all. I'll tell you why. It is going to be near impossible for anybody to win in the first round. I say that clearly today. Unless you have a rigged election like you saw in 2017, that was nullified, it is going to be near impossible for anybody in this race to win the first round. There are going to be three main candidates, the two others and myself. And I can tell you that is when you're going to see the true numbers of this nation. The true numbers beyond tribal coalitions, but the right-thinking Kenyans who have decided this is a time to come to the table and be counted. I am clear that in that race, we will prevail, but not in the first round, in the second round. I'm also very clear in my choice of running mate. I'm keeping my card very close to my chest. But I can tell you the choice of running mate is going to be a very clear picture of the kind of challenge we have today in this nation. We have an economic crisis. We have an economic bankrupt government. We have a crisis that is affecting every single one of our lives. And that is what should be on the table, the discussion of what are the solutions and the people that can bring these solutions to bear. Not tribal coalitions of Wagogo of politics. It must be about right-thinking Kenyans that are prepared to work very hard to make sure that the majority of our lives are changed for the better. I will be presenting my running mate on the last day, which I think we have been given as the 16th, and we shall be putting in our name then. Thank you. Asanteni sana.
Asanteni sana.